Hello gamers, rockmonkey here, former pro, coming at it with another tier list for this next patch with Caspian, Custodian. Let's get into it. From F tier going all the way up to S. Emoji, still terrible. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's been so long since the last tier list. F tier, no range. I enjoy it though. Super map dependent and no verticality and a massive hitbox. Wow. Talus. So I think Talus is in a pretty bad spot for this is MNK, by the way. Just unreliable. I had a nerf on his reset, so he can't really punch, reset, punch. His punch hitbox is wonky. Yeah, there's just a lot of better options, and he has bad matchups and other flanks. So that's that. We got Sky, another bad MNK pick, getting another nerf this patch. Too much of a gimmick, relies on invisibility. No verticality as well. And for the first tank, we got Yag of Wrath, our worm mommy. A few nerfs, and she's very clunky. Also kind of difficult to play because you can't really wing it, I suppose. I'm not a fan, and I'm terrible with her. So, plus I think there's a lot of high damage options to perhaps melt her and make her less useful. Janos, he isn't really an off support anymore. He can't really do that, and I don't really see him working out as a main support either. Yeah, I just think he's really weak after his binary nerfs, and I still think Orvis is better. And moving on, the D tier, which is not very good, very situational, or kind of underrated. Willow to start it off. She's pretty map dependent, not nearly as strong as she used to be, not a lot of burst. I don't think she duels very well, and she's got some counter picks, quite difficult. Vora. So I actually really wanted to learn Vora, but she just got hit with nerf after nerf with her ultimate and different sustain, I think. Kind of lackluster, and there's a lot of good flanks in the meta that just beat her out. Then we have Kinessa, who got some nerfs recently, and she can no longer dismount horses with her mines. That was kind of a big deal. Yeah, I don't think she's very good. Plus all the strong flanks, I keep saying that, but she can't deal with shields and she can't deal with flanks, so I think she's kind of bad. We got Koga. I actually really like Koga. I think he beats any off tank, and he's got some decent matchups into other tracking heroes on MNK, but he gets punished by a lot of flank matchups, and I think it's kind of difficult to pull off. You kind of got to be careful. Kind of a punishing character. A little underpowered, but I'm a fan. Lex is kind of rare. He was removed from the game from a little bit because of a certain bug, and I haven't seen anyone play him in a while. I think he's kind of bad. I never really enjoyed him anyway. He is good into certain flanks if you want to shut him down. He doesn't have verticality, but he's kind of quick on the feet, so I don't know, maybe give him a try, but not for me. We got Dragon Girl Amani, quite weak. She has long been past her prime. I really don't see a reason to pick her. She's just a range damage who has trouble dueling, kind of a gimmick. Yeah, I don't know, she's kind of weird. Ice Mines maybe, but there's better picks all around. And who can forget Vivian, the most annoying character in the game, still is. She's actually somewhat viable if you take her as a counter pick into certain tanky comps or into stealth. She actually punishes stealth a little bit, but I'm not a fan of her playstyle. I think she's very predictable, and she's kind of relying on just the game to play out. She can't really dictate the flow very much, in my opinion. So that's D for me. We got one of the newer characters, Betty. I'm not a fan, really. Her ult got changed, and it's been better. I don't think she has a lot of great matchups, and I think she's very map dependent. I think she's kind of difficult too to get some reliable damage out there. I don't think she's very good. Her ultimate's like kind of okay sometimes, but nah. And moving on to the tanks, Terminus. You don't see him very much, not a lot of range. I mean, of course. With Nando being so strong, Barrick so strong, and just a lot of strong tanks, I don't really see him working out. Plus, no one really picks Dredge as much as they used to, and he was pretty good into that. And Ko is very popular, so he gets hooked a lot. Yeah, I'm not a fan. We got Torvald, the old man. Never really works out when I see it. He's a gimmick. He relies on a hard carry, really, on the aggressive champion. Torvald can't really carry very hard. It's just a risky pick. D healers, Corvus. Not a fan. He got a lot of nerfs. I don't see him played anymore. Kind of lackluster. I think maybe with triple deeps, as in 3 damages or flanks on your team, I think it could perhaps work. Spread the heals, but very situational it appears right now. And here we are with Lilith. So my problem with Lilith is she can't get heals from her teammates, so she doesn't really work in double heal. And then with solo heal, she also doesn't feel very good because her lack of range. So I'm not really sure where to put her or what she's supposed to do, but I'm thinking D. We got Ray. I never really see her really in ranked. Pretty annoying to play against when you do see her, but I don't think she has enough impact. Possibly a hot take, but for now, D. Moving on to C tier damages, starting it off with Tyra. I'm actually a big Tyra fan. I think she's underrated. I think she can duel very well. She can shred tanks. She can deny space. Puts out damage. I don't know. I think she's nuts. Just lacking a little bit of verticality. That's all. That's all. Up next, Victor, who's kind of a more extreme, longer range, more damage based, worse at dueling. He's a pretty risky pick, but I mean, he can really do a lot of work if he's allowed to. And we got Leon. So yeah, she kind of fell from grace. She's still good on big open maps when there's no sniper, perhaps, or when you're just like a Leon one trick. Yeah, she's mid. And my first love, Cassie, is right there with her because she lost her Megaton, and there's a lot of tough matchups that you're just better off picking something that's a jack of all trades like she is, but just a little bit better at every trade. Up next, Tiger. I think he's a little underrated. He's actually really good at Ice Mines, but he got a little buff recently. He's kind of clunky for the jukes. He doesn't really juke well, and he kind of needs his Q online to win a 1v1, but when things go well, I think he's alright. Drix, another overly hated champion. I think he's alright. I think he's actually on the come up, and this patch he's actually getting a buff to his flashbang damage and his flare cooldown by like 3 seconds. So yeah, look out for some Strix. I'm gonna be a fan. And we got the Drogos. I'm a big fan of Drogue. He's my favorite blaster. I think he's a little underpicked. Got carry potential. He can punish tanks. He can make big plays. And he's getting a little buff this patch, so kind of hype. Maybe even B tier next patch. And then we have Dredge following up the Drogue. I think I'm being a little generous, not gonna lie. I think he's a tiny bit underrated, but probably on the lower side of C. Not a lot of people play him, but I think he's fine. I think he's fine. He's got some good sustain, got some poke, got some burst. Yeah, his ult's not terrible. It's all right. Moving on to the tanks, we got Rom, and I'm actually a big Rom hater. I can never win with a Rom on my team, but I think in theory he's probably better, but the way it plays out and the way everyone's playing it and how things are going, I don't think he's worth it on the average team. But if you min-max him, I think he can potentially be higher. And you just can't stop him from going in, you know? Oh, cancel that. We still got Zin. Forgot about our boy Zin. He's actually pretty good, but I don't play him much. Not a lot of people play him, but I mean, on Jag, he's kind of nuts. Any small map, he puts in the work, has good duel potential, and he's a playmaker. We got big boy Buck. Pretty similar. He holds space better and isn't as chaotic. He can do some stuff, and he has good matchups and off tanks, and it's just good matchups all around. Just probably a little clunky, bonking his head on certain maps. I'm not a humongous fan, but he works out with some bulk up or some bounce house maybe. And then we have point tank lady Nara. She's pretty standard, kind of boring, a little underwhelming. Not a lot of playmaking ability, not a lot of burst or chase down or like high mechanical skill. So I think she's kind of limited compared to the other point tanks, but I mean, she works out when she has to, you know? Moving on to the C heals, Pip. I think Pip's a little underrated. I kind of want to put him in B, but that's too hot of a take. I'm probably going to be learning him. I think he's great as a main healer, to be honest, and as an off damage healer, I still think he's pretty good. He's got a nutso ult and a lot of sustain, of course, and decent range. And verticality. What's not to like? Got a girl Ying. I think Ying is pretty good. She's potentially getting buffs. I think they reverted it, but she got like a little one on her efficiency card, so look out for her. She's all right. Got Sarah's right behind her. Interchangeable. I think they're both good. I think they're both viable. They're not the top dog supports. They do the job, and Sarah's got an ult buff a few patches ago, which is kind of crazy if you learn some lineups and make it work. The air detonation. Moving on to B tier, starting with Shaolin. He's kind of nuts right now. I almost want to put him A, but his stealth gets canceled, and he's not too quick on his feet and no verticality. But I mean, I think potentially there's an argument for A, but B is still very solid. Mini nerf on his explosive arrow cooldown somewhat recently. Still frags. Very good matchups into a lot of other characters right now, so I think it's pretty good. We have Octavia. Now, I'm being generous here. I don't play Octavia, but I think she has more potential than Victor And Leon, I think she's got potential. Kind of generous right now. I'd be okay if she fell down to C personally, but I can see what she does, and I think there's an argument for B tier because of her just her raw damage and her hop. And her ult's actually pretty good. I'm starting to respect it a little more. And then Maeve, your standard safe flanker. She got range, she got engage, she got a nice ult, high damage. She's just a popular pick that can do a lot of things, make a lot of plays. Eevee is kind of like Maeve on hard mode in my opinion, personally for me, because I'm a terrible Eevee. She gets better trades because she has better sustain. She can probably engage a little bit easier and get out a little bit easier, but yeah, just a little harder and probably a little bit more map dependent. E-tanks, we got Atlas. I think Atlas is very good. Not a lot of people know how to play him, but a good big wall Atlas does so much. And I hate playing against him, and sometimes I actually even ban him. I'm not a fan of playing against this character, and I can't even play it myself because it's so difficult. If you want to put in the time to learn it, he is quite good. And then we have a Zahn. Now I might be rating him a little bit high. I think he's worse than Atlas. I'm just an Zahn fan. I think his skill ceiling is actually pretty good, and sometimes he has some high impact. It's just his damage is a little difficult to put onto Maeve or Vatu, who are popular picks. It's just sometimes a little tricky to get that damage down confirmed, and it's not a lot of DPS. I haven't mathed it out. Not a mathematician, but it doesn't feel like a lot. So I wouldn't be comfortable putting him A right now after all those nerfs. B is fine for me. And we got Khan, a nice safe tank. The only problem with Khan is that he can't get in there super deep like Ashe can. So he's a little slow, and his ult is a little tricky to hit, but I mean, he has great matchups in other tanks. He does well against most damages. So good safe pick all around, just chills and puts out damage. Then we got the Lightning Orc. I'm actually a big fan, really strong as a secondary healer. I haven't seen it played a lot as a main healer. I imagine it would work on some maps and some comps. Probably a little underexplored, maybe a little underrated, but a strong pick and a viable ban as well. Just has a couple matchups you gotta look out for, like a Willow, but I mean, you're gonna get a high damage game when you play him almost any time. He's quite the champion, especially with that ult. And then we got the classic Dombo, one of the best designed champions in the game. I'm such a fan. He's getting a little gourd buff, a little damage buff. I think it's about 10 damage per tick or something like that. So that'll add up for his damage a little bit. Great ult, just a very difficult character. When mastered, I think he's capable of a lot and actually kind of carries a little bit. Moving on the A tier with Vatu, very strong right now, a lot of sustain, a lot of poke. He's actually got a little bit of a tech. If you flick to the left while clicking, you'll have accurate daggers, kind of nuts. And he's getting 2 seconds off his shadow bombs for some reason. He's already very good, so now he's a little bit better. Great matchups, and actually bullies tanks kind of hard. Yeah, I'm not a fan of fighting him as an off tank. It's kind of rough. Then we got Sadi. Honestly, she might fall down a tier this patch. She's getting a few nerfs on her stealth, on her health, on her something else. Getting some nerfs. I'm imagining she'll go down to like mid B, but I'll be optimistic right now because I'm kind of a fan, so there's a little bit of bias for it. A tanks, we got A Makoa, and I actually hate this character. He almost got a buff to his half shell. I think they reverted it. Thankfully, it's already so good. I actually almost permabanned this character because he just denies so much space with his hook and his shield, and he can int with his ult. So he's a playmaker and a space holder. It's too much, man. And we got Ruckus. I'm a big Ruckus fan. Probably my favorite off tank to play. Very good. A little bit map dependent because of the verticality and because he wants to get in so much. But on the right maps, he's actually the best tank in the game on a couple maps like Timbermill. So very good. A lot of high damage. Almost guaranteed to kill you if he wants to and if he sets it up right. So very good tank. We got Ashe. I actually think Ashe is a little bit worse than Ruckus. She buys time better, but she has a harder time killing and she relies on her ult more. So I think she's more map dependent. She's more of like an Ice Mines and Bizarre kind of gal. I'm rating her a little high, to be honest. I think she's kind of difficult. With unlocked potential, there's an argument for her in A tier. Fernando, a very good tank, lots of shielding. I'm actually a Scorch fan too. I think that's a lot of fun to play. You can pick him as early as you want. You can ban him. He's just very good, man. He just nice ult too, like strong ult. Yeah. Very good at comboing. Super good character. Then we got Barrack. I think Barrack's a little bit worse than Nando, but I think if you give the enemy team Nando and you get Barrack, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's like super duper bad. It's just, yeah, he's like a Nando, but short and with a shotgun, you know? It's similar. And I forgot the Bomb King in A tier. We're going to put up an S. Come on, man. He's very strong, a little difficult, a little map dependent, but when he works out, I think he just shreds everything. You just can't beat a Bomb King that's free firing on your tanks, you know? It's so hard to push, and his ult's actually pretty good and easy to combo with like Maeve or Nando. I just think he's a very good character. And what we've all been waiting for, the S tier, you can kind of see where it's going. Androxus. Yeah, this character is crazy. He's getting a little nerf on his DOT, but I mean, he's still got DOT, and the reversal talent was already kind of awesome anyway. You don't even need the DOT. Very good character, wins almost any matchup if you hit your shots. Good range, good mobility, good burst, good ult, everything. Yeah, nuts. And 7. I think 7's a little bit harder. Maybe that's because I'm bad with him. Got a lot of mobility, and he just puts little claymores everywhere, man. Little C4, and there's nothing you can do about it. He can even hook you out of position. He can dash hook spam for the entire duration of the video game. His ult's actually not bad now that I don't actually know how to use it. So I think he's very good, and you'll see him banned a lot. And we got a girl Furia. She's a very good healer. She actually shuts down dimes because she does so much damage, and her ult's actually really good because it's a global go forward, push, kill everything button. Yeah, very good. And I keep catching beams, bro. I can't dodge them. They're big and they go through walls, and the character's busted. I don't know. We got Io. Io's very good. I think she's worse than Furia. Personally, she does more heals and less damage. Her ult's worse. She gotta manage her dog, but I mean, it's what it is right now in the meta. She's very common, and you can stick your healer on Io and nothing will go wrong, probably, kinda. So she does very well. We got Grover. I actually think Grover's really good on a couple maps, like very small maps or like very long maps. I actually think Grover's very good. He just kind of, you know what? I'm gonna lower him a little bit. Actually, never mind. I think he's very good. I just don't think he's S tier. His ferocity is very good, and his vine heal is newly fixed and being explored as we speak. So I think he's potentially underrated, but I think it's very good. And we got the new kid on the block, Caspian. Finally, where is he gonna go? Well, he's got some interesting cards. I actually think his cards are very good. Like his cards, like 60% speed when you hit a shot, like that's crazy. And he's got shielding on shooting. But his dash, like it's going horizontal. That's kind of weird. I thought it was supposed to go vertical, you know? Like, I don't know what's happening with that. His dash is like a 2-second lockout, bro. You dash, you can't touch anything for 2 seconds. So you pretty much die if you hit dash, but I mean, it is early now, and some things could be explored, and you could go crazy, you know? But I think overall, with the clunkiness, and you need the stacks to really do anything, and his bullet has a delay on fire. Even the right clicks are hard to hit, and they're very short, probably the shortest weapon in the game after terminus axe. Overall, I'm thinking he's a kind of mid. I'm gonna go C to be safe, but it could be generous. I could be egoing him as well. Like, I think he's kind of mid. Early impressions. There's potential, and he is quick. Maybe he has some good matchups, but that dash gotta get worked, man. I don't know. I need some changes to that dash for me to really see the potential, you know? Well, there you have it. That is the entire champion roster. I haven't counted, but I mean, it certainly looks like it. Let me know what you thought. I'm pretty sure I got them 100% correct objectively. There's a champion you didn't expect to be so high or didn't expect to be so low. I mean, hey man, maybe you should branch out and try some OP stuff, or finally accept that Boji is trash, you know? Some more videos coming out pretty soon. Keep an eye out, and I'll see you in the realm.